We're all familiar with the term rebuilding. Teams go through rebuilding stages all the time. We're currently seeing it at the college level with the Colorado Buffs. Coach Prime and his excellent recruiting and motivational skills getting better talent to Colorado and taking them from a perennial just bottom of the barrel Pac-12 team to now being ranked in the top 25. And on the pro level, we're currently seeing it with the Detroit Lions, and we're seeing the complete opposite with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Two teams that started their rebuilds in the same exact year with new coaches, new quarterbacks, new offensive coordinators, and yet over the course of the last 3 seasons, their trajectories have gone in complete different directions. But I'm not here to analyze what went wrong with the Jags and then what the Lions are doing correct. What I am making the comparison to is Maximum Football going through a rebuild. Maximum Football is an indie game. It's been around for longer than you may think. It originally had some titles in the early 2000s, but the one we're all most familiar with is Doug Flutie's Maximum Football in 2019 and 2020. One of, if not the worst football game I think I've played. And now with Maximum Football officially on early access, they have officially started their rebuild mode. They have their new development team, they have their new publisher, they are working in an entirely new engine. So can they turn this program around? Maximum Football Early Access has been out on PC for a couple of weeks now, and I've been able to play quite a bit of it during this time, putting in a whopping 15.3 hours, which for me is a lot. I know it may not be a lot for some people, but if you look at my Steam activity over the last 2 weeks, it's 15.4, so it's basically all I've played. I know you guys have a lot of questions, and I'm going to do my best to preemptively cover all of it in this video. This is not a review of the game, and I'm not interested in hunting for bugs or trying to break the game with exploitable plays. I just want to hop on and play it like any other gamer would, and then provide my feedback on the gameplay experience, the game design, user interface, and fun factor. I want Maximum Football to succeed. So know that any of my critiques come from a good place with good intentions. I want this to be the game-changing football game the community really wants. Off the bat, the menu design looks great when you hop in. It's easy to read, it's a clean color palette, navigation is quick when you're cycling through the various menu hubs, it's all well done, it's not overstimulating, really nice. When you load into your first game, the presentation and the graphics are also pretty awesome for a free-to-play indie title. When it comes to player models, I think this is definitely the best looking indie football game available, and the presentation is spot on as well. I think Sunday Rivals is the best looking indie football title aesthetically with its art style, but if you're looking for realism, then Maximum Football can't be beat, and it has significantly upgraded itself from the 2020 days. Player uniforms get dirty as they play the game, and I found it funny that during my live stream, Thad Castle had a pristine white jersey late in the game because he also had 0 tackles up to that point. Guess no one got him his rabies for the game.
Before big games, I shoot rabies. It gives me the edge I need and it's undetectable. Only idiot losers do steroids anymore.
Customization has been a major selling point for Maximum Football, and one of the most requested features from the community to have in-depth customization with options upon options to set up leagues and teams and custom logos. And you'll be happy to know that all of that is possible. Player and team customization has a wide range of options, but shallow depth with each one. So while you can customize many different things like gloves and face masks and elbow pads and the screws on a helmet, the options in each category are slim, with maybe only a couple choices at best, even in the fully paid version. And while the base level of the game, aka the free version, those choices are going to be locked, you can upgrade to the $20 Dynasty version of the game and you get an extra helmet and an extra set of gloves, but everything else is still going to remain locked for that $40 version of the game. Now for player customization, you can customize their name, position, appearance, jersey number, weight, but not the height, which that seems kind of like an odd attribute to keep locked. You can't change their year either when you're in Dynasty Mode, which makes sense, so you don't just keep repeatedly making guys freshmen, but if you want a specific player to be a different year, you can edit them outside of Dynasty Mode and then make sure you use that roster when you load up Dynasty. Facial appearances hardly differentiate from one another, and you only have 4 haircuts to choose from. This amount doesn't change either when you buy the game, and the hair options are very weak in both style and quantity of style, even for a free-to-play game in my opinion. Customizing team uniforms is a ton of fun, and you seemingly have unlimited uniform options that you can make. I have spent hours in the creation suite, customizing uniforms for different teams, trying out new combinations, and while it's really fun, where it actually misses the mark is being limited to one logo. You have no alternative options. So after I uploaded all the historical logos for Nevada and Boise State, I found out I couldn't even use them, and that was kind of a bummer. It sucks because a lot of schools use a different logo for their helmet than the official logo. You know, sometimes the logo is more of an icon. Like Boise State is just a giant horse head. It doesn't actually have like the Boise State naming on it. Or at JMU, we just have JMU on the side of our helmet. We don't have the actual Duke Dog logo on the side of the helmet. But in Maximum Football, you're gonna have to settle for one or the other. You can't scale the size of logos either, so Nevada's is really small, and App State's is really large in comparison to real life, despite both of them being the same size on the import and in Photoshop, so I can't really make sense of that. Outside of that though, you can add custom conference logos, and you can include those conference patches in multiple locations on the uniform. You can change the school name, and you can even change the year the university was founded, which I also thought was like a nice little detail brought into the game. The bright side of customization is the plethora of helmet options and paint styles like matte, glossy, chrome, speckled. I absolutely love it. And the other pro is the unlimited number of uniforms you can create. So unlike College Football 25, where JMU only has the white and gold helmets, like I can go and create all of JMU's helmets, like the matte black or the chrome purple or the speckled white, the chrome black. But again, the unfortunate part is I'm stuck to a single logo. But it is a ton of fun. Like in this example, I made Blue Mountain State. I have our base uniforms, but then I also spent a lot of time having some fun creating specialty unis like the Orange Crush or the Chrome Domes, the Midnight Blues, and I think the Blackout is pretty fun too. So if you're into team customization, you can have a lot of fun. There's a lot of freedom to do things here. The one gripe I have is you have to copy over your colors from home to away. Yes, so when you select your team's colors and your RGB values, it doesn't just copy over to the away uniforms. You have to repeat those steps again, which makes zero sense. I shouldn't have to repeat steps to make my away uniform. You should just be able to set your team's colors as the default palette, and that palette is auto-applied to every uniform that you make. And if you want to deviate from your color palette, then you can actually go in and manually change it. But it should auto-apply that standard color palette to everything you do. And this comment brings me to a larger complaint I have about the current state of the game, and that is the terrible UI. And more actually the UX to be specifically, because the user interface itself, the art style, everything is clean, but the experience of actually using it is awful. So the first issue with the UX is in exhibition mode. When you hop in here and you have to choose your team, and when you start navigating, you realize that these aren't sorted by state, they're not sorted by city name, they're not sorted by team name or college names as we bounce around different letters in the alphabet and come back to other ones. There's just no organization as to who you're choosing when you're trying to pick a team here. The other problem is in custom logos. When you go over to the Explore page, there's also no way to actually like sort and filter something that you want to look for. And as more and more logos eventually get loaded into this game, you're just going to be sorting for hours and hours through thousands of logos. And every time you press load more, it just refreshes you at the top, and you're going to have to re-scroll through everything you just scrolled through again. And there's no option to filter or search for specific items. You know, let's say you want to search for, you know, something with the Eagles on it. There's no way to just type in Eagles and have everything pulled up that has Eagles on it. And then we can also do orange. And then if you notice, I actually have to scroll back up to the top. So when I want to change my first color and I choose this teal color, I can't just press back to go to my second color. I actually have to navigate all the way back up here and choose second, and then I have to scroll down and, you know, choose my color and then scroll all the way back up, which again is just a time waster. But to change a player's order on the depth chart, so if I want to sub out Travis McKenna for Alex Moran, I have to press X. But if I come down here and press X like you would in another game just to swap the players, it would actually just swap them in the right hand menu. It wouldn't actually swap them on the depth chart. So you have to press X, and then you have to press Y on the player you want to substitute with, and then you have to press A to swap. So there's an extra button press, and there's 3 different buttons for a task in other sports games that takes 2 button presses with 1 button. Again, another strange thing within the rosters is you can't actually upgrade your players from here. You have to actually back out and go to the main Dynasty hub to improve your players on your roster. And I'm fine with the improved players being its own grid, because when you go into My College and you look into Stadium, you can check out your facilities, your college income, your college expenses by tabbing over within this submenu. Or you can also view that by looking at your budget in the menu, and then you can look at your team facilities, which brings you to upgrading. So there's different ways to access those submenus. However, in roster, there's no way to access this improved players submenu. So the other weird thing is, let's say you are trying to upgrade maybe your rushing, and you're like, okay, I'm pressing A here. What's going on? Maybe do I press X? There's nothing on the screen indicating how do I do this upgrade. I don't see a button for me to press. The strange thing is you actually have to cycle all the way over to the right to upgrade facilities. So you press the one you want. So if I want to upgrade rushing, I press A to highlight it. And then I have to tab over with the D-pad all the way until I can highlight upgrade facility. Alright, so if you've made it this far in the video, you probably want to know how the game plays. Fair enough. Maximum Football gameplay is not great by modern standards. Player movement is reminiscent of something from maybe the early PlayStation 2 NFL Fever days, or even like PS1 Madden, which is fine. I know the point isn't to feel retro, but the movement isn't as fluid as like a modern day Madden or college football game, let alone All-Pro Football 2K8. Now, in the same vein, player movement has been cleaned up and smoothed out over the last 4 months since that Steam Next Fest beta, and it's a significant improvement since then. So if you've played that, Maximum Football is in a much better state now. I didn't enjoy that Next Fest beta at all, and I barely played it because it was such a choppy experience, but it is light years ahead of where it once was. I've seen some people making comparisons to Backbreaker, and as someone who has easily put over 1,000 hours into Backbreaker, I'm just not seeing it. You know, maybe they're saying it because of that tighter camera angle, which I do really like, but I'm just not really drawing the Backbreaker comparisons quite yet. I mean, because from a physics standpoint, I see where Maximum Football is going, but Backbreaker still stands mightily above all. And from an animation standpoint, Maximum Football is very restrictive, and the player movement is sometimes just downright unacceptable, no matter how much it helps me out, like in this run with Craig Shiloh. But even though College Football 25 looks and feels better and is newer than Maximum Football, there's just something about the gameplay that Maximum Football has accomplished that College Football 25 and Madden have failed to do. And that's the randomness of outcomes of plays in real life football. You know, there's several games I've come across with such a wide variety of plays and outcomes that every experience feels like a new one, where College Football 25 quickly grew stale on me from its repetitive movements and predictable rubber band AI, where every game somewhat plays out similarly. But at Maximum Football, I've had high scoring shootouts, I've had low scoring games, I've had games with 5+ turnovers and my defense was a brick wall, I've had multiple blocked punts in one game, I've had forced fumbles that the offense ended up just turning into a touchdown, I've had tip passes that turned into interceptions, tip passes that have turned into touchdowns, and big runs breaking tackles where it was noticeable that my momentum and player strength, weight, speed all played into me breaking the tackle. Running the football feels pretty good at Maximum, and you have enough control to maneuver the ball carrier through tight gaps without feeling like he's slipping out of your control. The passing game can be pretty tough though, and it's very rough around the edges, with the ball taking odd trajectories, and if you're throwing anything other than a bullet pass, you're risking an easy interception for the defense. Receivers constantly dive out for the ball, and DBs are constantly diving forward for interceptions. So the chances of a pick six or making yards after the catch on a big play are slim to none, and it can get kind of annoying. The flaws in gameplay should be fixed through time and support. The devs have a lot of work to do, but the difference in between where it is now versus 4 months ago is night and day. I mean, they've made more progress in 4 months than Madden has in 4 years. The playbook's pretty thin, which is a bummer. Most of the run and pass concepts feel too similar to each other, like I'm calling the same plays over and over again. There's no play action, no option, no RPO, no receiver screens, no cool formations like a wing T or a wildcat or power I. There's no hurry up, there's no spike, there's no QB kneel. So I'm hoping in the future we receive expanded playbooks for the current formations and also get some new formations along the way. So what can you do for free actually? There are legitimate concerns about this free-to-play aspect of the game. If you're an online player, you probably don't care as much because the entire mode is available for you to play online under the name of Maximum Pro League, which is basically their version of ranked online play tied into like an ultimate team sort of like card collecting game. You can earn coins to unlock packs, but those max bucks are the premium currency, and that's honestly just like one hell of a grind to earn those. So if you're wanting to get anything with max, with max bucks, you're probably gonna have to fork out some money or just play a ton, and I mean a ton, of Maximum Pro League. If you're gonna hop in this game and purely just play exhibition, customized teams, and just play Max Pro League, you can play forever without spending anything. So it can truly be free to play if that's your thing. If ranked online's your thing, then go for it, it's free. But if you're a Dynasty guy and a single player dude who's gonna play Dynasty in franchise mode, it's kind of borderline impossible to get everything you want out of this game for free and get that full experience. You're restricted to 2 seasons of Dynasty Mode out the gate, and through playing the game, you can unlock 2 more seasons via max tickets. So they have this challenges where you can basically just log in and accept your reward and log out, and they have it set to 30 days. So you can actually get a max ticket on the 7th day and on the 21st day. I'm not sure how long it is until these season awards update. I'm not sure if once you hit 30 days it resets itself, or if it's like a Fortnite deal where a season lasts 3 months. I guess time will tell. But the point is, if you're looking at playing more than one Dynasty, you're gonna have to fork over $20 to buy the Dynasty version of the game. Because even if you delete a Dynasty mode, you don't get that ticket back. So once it's spent, it's spent. So you can customize all you want for free in the sense of, making as many teams as you want, but your accessory options are going to be very limited in customization. And to unlock the other items, you're going to have to purchase the legendary version of the game for $40, as the $20 Dynasty Mode version of the game isn't going to unlock those extra items. So before we go, let's take a look at Dynasty real quick. The Dynasty main hub is really clean. From left to right, you have your school's information from the top players, top stats, your record, overall rank. And then when you move left to right, you can see some different bricks to improve players, view stats and awards, your rankings, season schedule, play a game, social media. And at the bottom, there's a nice little progress bar to tell you how your progress is going through the season. And at the very top right, you have 3 different currencies in Dynasty Mode. You have Prestige, XP, and Budget. Now, Prestige is what you're going to use for recruiting. So when we come over here to recruiting and we have our prospect scouting, you can come through here and start looking at different players. So we have Angel Mulrooney from Virginia, and this would cost 50 Prestige to unlock the attributes for this player. Now, we've already been scouting. I didn't record this when I was scouting players earlier, but I was already scouting, guys, so my prestige is really low at the moment. Don't have enough. But if you want to learn about a guy, let's say this safety from Arkansas, you can just for 5 prestige, you can unlock the very basics, such as his interest in your school and what his combine stats are. But if you want to learn any more about his actual attributes, then you're going to have to continue spending. So like we have Bill Winslow here, the safety from Texas, and since I have fully scouted him, I can view all of his individual stats here. So the other currency we have is XP, and you use this to improve your players. So I can come in here to improve players and scroll down to a player I want to improve, and I can see there's Craig Shiloh right here, and I select him. And the nice thing I like the Maximum Football does is all of your XP that you earn is pooled into a single spot. So individual players aren't earning their own XP, and coaches aren't earning their own XP. You as the gamer are using it, and then you can choose where you distribute that. So if you want to put it all on one player, you can, and you can use XP to spread it around to any of the players you want. So I can come here to Craig Shiloh, and I want to maybe bump up his break tackle just a few more, maybe get him to a 95, and see it's just dropped my pool of XP down to 305,000. And maybe I want to improve now some of my offensive linemen with some of the blocking going on. So I'm going to grab this sophomore here. We're going to choose him. His strength looks pretty good for right now. Take a look at his blocking, and let's just increase his run blocking up to an 85. and it works just like that. It's super simple. It's a really nice method. I like that you can utilize all of your XP for any of the players you want, and then it's not constrained to the individual person. And the last currency we have is the dollar, and this is where the budget comes in, and this is what allows you to upgrade facilities. So the money that you earn, you can upgrade your core facilities, your passing facilities, rushing, receiving, blocking. And what these do is it decreases the XP cost of upgrading your players for one of these blocking attributes or receiving or the core attributes. Now, upgrading facilities are pretty costly. You know, you look, for example, here, our rushing facilities are already level 2. If we want to increase that again, that's 5.6. We just don't have the money for that. And you're going to want to use your money for the stadium as well, because upgrading tiers is going to cost $750,000 to upgrade to the max tier for Cobblestone Park. Or if you want to change your stadium altogether, such as Varsity Park or even over to Parsons Fields, that's $12 million right there that you're going to need to come up with. So money is going to be useful for upgrading your facilities and upgrading your stadium. In the same way you use XP to upgrade your players, you can also use XP to upgrade your coach. You can also upgrade your coach's skills so that it decreases the amount of XP needed when you're buying attributes for your players. So right now with rushing, I can decrease rushing attribute cost by 25% if I spend $30,000 or 30,000 XP, excuse me. So for example, if we go back to improve players and we click on Craig Shiloh and I go over to rushing, I can see his stiff arm is at a 91 and it's 7,873 XP. I'm currently getting that at a 20% discount. But if I go over to my coach and I click on his skills and I click rushing to decrease that value by 25%, we spent 30K. Let's go ahead and spend 35K. Why not? And unlock that skill. So now we're getting a 30% discount. And we head back to improved players and we're going to scroll down and find Craig Shiloh once again. And that running IQ, as you can see, is now dropped to 7,024 XP. My opinion is if you have a PC, try it out. It's free. It's not going to be for everyone, especially right now with the gameplay having a ton of issues and the UI being a mess to navigate. But I look at it as if they can make the same strides in gameplay in the next 4 months that they have in the last 4 months, it's going to be in a great place and setting itself up for success. So this is what phase 1 of the Maximum Football rebuild looks like. Will they follow the trajectory of the Detroit Lions and find new heights? Or will they find the trajectory of the Jacksonville Jaguars and sink to the lowest of lows? I don't think they're going to go that low, but I do hope we see them become the juggernaut of the NFC like the Detroit Lions that can take on the juggernaut of the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs. That's it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider giving it a thumbs up, maybe subscribe, like, share, comment, all that stuff. If you are playing Maximum Football, what are your thoughts on the game so far, and what do you hope to see in the future down the road? Until next time, peace.